Position works you out, you get into a bad patch. A couple of times he was left out for the playing 11. And what we're seeing today, I think, Irani, is a very, very defensive, Irani, where he's not looking to play shots. And I'm not saying this in a negative sense. This is great. This is
on you here for a moment, because tell me a little bit more about the domestic game here. I know in India, and it's something that I marvel at when I'm abroad and coming here and seeing the depth that you have here in India, in particular at the moment. Are you able to be on the character of the player more so than performance? So someone like Jameson hasn't really set the world alight at the domestic level, but you can tell the character is there. He walked in, got man of the match in that first game of his ODI career. 111 for 5.
Limitless is to dominate every road, race, and record, just like the Swift, which has now crossed the 2 million mark.
बस शुरू करने की बात है, फिर सपने बोलते हैं किसके साथ आगे बढ़ना है, जो कहीं नहीं मिलता उसे कहाँ ढूंढना है। बस शुरू करने की बात है, उसके लिए जो भी चाहिए अपनी दुकान Amazon पर सब मिल जाएगा। Amazon, नई शुरुआतों की अपनी दुकान।
So tell me, is the selections of the Vihari, for example, or Rahane, even the upcoming players like Shubman Gill, is it about their character in terms of judging whether they're going to succeed for India on the international level, or is it simply because you have such great depth, you can just simply say, right, you're averaging 60, you're the next cab off the rank?
Well, that's the main reason why you want cricketers as selectors. Because if you're going to pick just the highest run getter or the highest wicket taker, you might as well have a computer. Doing that and pick the top run getter of the season when you're looking for 2 slots, who are the 2 top run getters, okay, get them in. So the selectors have to work out. They've got to have almost visualize somebody like Najim Kirani averaging 60 at the first class level. How is he going to shape up at the highest level? Now there's a lot of good stuff being said about Shubman Gill, not just because of his numbers. People who have watched him closely think there's a bit of class. As well, and there is potential for him to translate that success at the highest level. Having said all that, India is a batting country. We have flat pitches, we have fast outfields, so batsmen play long innings. We've got Jadeja, who's got 3 triple hundreds. So they spend a lot of time in the middle. So just by sheer hours of batting, they become better batsmen. The only test that's there for Indian batsmen is when they get conditions like this, because this counter much.
And that's then where an A program becomes vital.
And India is big on that. If you see India A team, and that's why I think the overseas performance of India in the last few years has improved. They compete better. And one of the reasons the number of A tours or under 25 that's happening. It's a big push to get A teams going all over the globe.
And New Zealand, conversely, don't have the money for that, which is why our A team doesn't tour. And I don't know if you know this, but about 4 years ago, the ICC actually gave New Zealand cricket $2.1 million for 3 overseas A tours. And I felt it was no coincidence, much like what you're suggesting. Players came straight in and performed immediately, 111. For 5.
Cricket on, Dream 11 on. Play India's biggest sports game now. छोटे छोटे लम्हों का अनोखा सफर, कमला पसंद, अनोखा स्वाद.
Yeah, that's sad if not too much of A tours happen because of financial reasons. One of the reasons why Pakistan struggles. A bit in places like Australia, South Africa, England, they don't do enough A tours to those countries. India have been doing numerous A tours, and that's why they're as I said, the performances overseas have improved. Today is, of course, not the right time to talk about improved. Overseas performance, but their bowling attack, will make even 200 seem competitive.
So all New Zealand has going for it at the moment from an A-level perspective is teams coming to New Zealand. So it's terrific for us that India have been out in the last month. Great preparation for Agarwal and Prithvi Shaw, Shubman Gill. Even in the last match before the tour game, it was Ravichandran Ashwin played, Rahane played, Pujara played. Not so good in terms of learning new conditions, which is what you're talking about for India, now going to places like New Zealand where the ball seams and is a little tennis ball and slow. That takes experience, and I think we saw Prithvi Shaw, the way he was dismissed. It was that lack of experience of playing in these conditions that led to that dismissal.
To just go back to answering a question about just the sheer weightage of runs, is that what gets a batting talent in? To the Indian team? No, I think the biggest factor is, and something that you would never know from the batting averages in India. Dear. There's always something that you get to see in Wellington. That's gone over the boundary rope. That was the captain's cap, I guess. Yeah, just 33. Runs in 21.3 overs. Grandom has been a worthy fourth bowler. That's going to be 4 runs for Rishabh Pant. His first boundary, he's been around for a while. 36 minutes at the crease.
And easy enough too for Rishabh Pant, because Saudi just 127 kilometres an hour, and even though he's bowling with the breeze, that isn't quick enough to hurry up a player of Rishabh Pant's class.
So quickly to finish on that topic, as we see exactly where the ball hit Rishabh Pant, is how quickly you're able to make the adjustment. Those are the batsmen that survive, or the cricketers that survive. And become exceptional players who succeed in all conditions. So Prithvi Shaw clearly got a wake-up call today with the wall that just cleaned him up.
And Prithvi Shaw is not going to change his technique. He's got to this stage, he's had the success that he has because of the technique he has, but he can make those slight adjustments. That's all we're talking about. Respect that at times the ball's going to have it over you and therefore you can't go as hard. As he did. Defence, play the ball late, under the eyes, all the old-fashioned mantras of how to succeed in seeming conditions. And that's what he'll learn. That's the beauty of those A tours that we're talking about, coming over, even playing the test matches, learning from those errors, banking the experience you've got and making yourself a better player down the line.
End of the over. That was the 50th over of the innings. 116 for 5.
Life in the urban jungle is difficult. A few species survive here, like the Ignis, adapting to its tough habitat. It moves with ease on every terrain. The Tough Urban, presenting the new Ignis, compact urban SUV.
Nexa.
You know what the best revenge is? Revenge. Have you had enough? Because there's more.
Watch Hunters only on Amazon Prime Video, included with your Prime membership.
What's up? छोटे छोटे लम्हों का अनोखा सफर, कमला पसंद, अनोखा स्वाद।
There you go again, Ajinkya Rahane looking to defend a ball that was really over pitched. So he's come with just one thought, to just defend and wear out the bowler. Now this is Ross Taylor 100 test matches. Tell us about those wine bottles that Ross Taylor will get.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Ross Taylor is the fourth New Zealander to 100 test matches after Stephen Fleming, Daniel Vettori and Brendan McCullum. And I was there when Stephen Fleming played his 100th and we were looking for a gift. And Stephen Fleming is a bit of a wine fan, and he collects nice bottles of wine. So New Zealand Cricket bought him 100 bottles of wine and had labels made up of all the 100 test matches, who the opponent was, where the venue was, the dates. I'm not sure, I can't quite recall whether it had his own personal performance on the labels, but they get 100 bottles commemorating all of those 100 test matches. Ross Taylor received his last night, 100 bottles. A little more about Ross Taylor as well. He's actually from a place called Masterton, which is about an hour north of Wellington. It's a small, in India you would call it a village. And that's actually where I'm from as well, my family. There's a it's only about 15,000 people from this place, and it has no cricket pedigree or history. And it's a place where, well, let's just say it's not a lot of good things come out of it. But he showed a lot of talent early, Ross Taylor, and then went to a private school because of that talent on a scholarship about an hour. And a half north of that, the same school that Jacob Oram went to, and Matthew Sinclair, for those who are maybe a little older. And the skills came from there. And he was a bit of a protege coming through the grades. So he's a well-liked cricketer. He's been a great servant for New Zealand, and we put up a graphic during the one-day series of how many players. There's only 15 players who have more international hundreds than Ross Taylor. And all of those players, you would say, are all-time greats of the game. Whereas I think if you asked people around the world, would you say Ross Taylor is an all-time great? They'd probably say no. Yet the numbers that he's put up probably suggest otherwise.
Now is that getting to him? Rishabh Pant has been there for a while, just 6 runs on the board. It's a very difficult man to predict as to what his approach is likely to be. He's got a couple of test hundreds for sure. Those came in matches where he could just play his free game, the pressure was off. The one in England came at Oval when India had lost the series and the match was done. Another waft outside the off stump. 117 for 5.
अल्ट्राटेक सीमेंट, इसके अल्ट्राटेक बाइंडिंग पार्टिकल्स ईंटों से सरिये तक जोड़कर घर को दे बेजोड़ मजबूती।
नींव बिछाई, दीवार चढ़ाई, छत में डाला डेरा और घर बन गया मेरा।
बड़े इरादों में जान डाल दे। अल्ट्राटेक, इंडियाज नंबर 1 सीमेंट।
HSO,
जिसकी परफॉर्मेंस को ना वक्त हरा सके ना मुश्किलें। ब्रिजस्टोन टायर्स के नैनो प्रोटेक्ट पॉलीमर्स उन्हें बनाए स्टर्डी भी और फ्लेक्सिबल भी, ताकि आपको सालों साल मिले एजलेस परफॉर्मेंस।
बाकी सब तो उड़ गया, लेकिन आपका परफ्यूम रह गया।
बिना गैस वाला फॉग ये जल्दी से उड़ेगा नहीं, रहेगा।
Good feelings last a few hours. Good acts, more than a lifetime. Be remembered for good. Seagram's 100 Pipers. True legend.
अगर मेरे भाई को कुछ हुआ ना, तो कसम हमारे बाप की, तुम्हारे देश को इस दुनिया के नक्शे से मिटा दूंगा।
आपकी गाड़ी से लेकर होम अप्लायंसेस की चमक सालों साल बरकरार रहती है नेरोलैक पेंट से। चमका तो आप कब चमका रहे हैं अपना घर नेरोलैक से?
Right, finally see the fifth bowler in this New Zealand team. It's been all about seeing, but they have a spinner. He's been in hiding until now. Hijaz Patel, the left-arm spinner, he's left out Mitchell Santner, who's been around with New Zealand cricket for a long time. Good cricketer. Here he is round the wicket. And preferred in this team because he's more wicket-taking than you would think Mitchell Santner.
Already 2 5-wicket hauls in his 8 matches. He's played a lot for New Zealand on subcontinental tours where he'll get a little help. Now I'm thinking the UAE and Sri Lanka. But has been a good performer in domestic cricket in New Zealand as well. But I'm fascinated to see what the approach will be from the 2 Indian batsmen, because it's often difficult in New Zealand against the seamers, and therefore when the spinners come on, it's then, wow, let's get our runs now while we can. But he's a good, solid, steady bowler. Compact, there's not a lot of energy expended in the run-up.
And run-up, I think, perfect for the windy conditions in Wellington. There's hardly any running involved.
And it's actually not a bad thing to bowl spin when it is blustery, because you can toss the ball up and the wind will just hold it back. So it drops on you as a batsman. And even Rahane almost looks like he's having to check his footwork every delivery.
Yeah, the point that you made, Moeen Ali got 19 wickets based on that same kind of premise of Indian batsmen going after the spinner after their battle against quality seam. 117 for 5.
Hey, the coach won't like it if you're late. 5 runs under 15.
On it, coach. जिंदगी के छोटे बड़े हर पल के लिए Amazon 1000+ टॉप ब्रांड्स के लेटेस्ट ट्रेंड्स बस 2 दिन में डिलीवर्ड। Amazon बनाए हर पल फैशनेबल।
छोटे छोटे लम्हों का अनोखा सफर, कमला पसंद, अनोखा स्वाद।
Well, I'm sure a lot of cricket fans, the hardcore Test cricket fans, would have been up very early at 4 a.m. to watch this game. It's a good day if you're a cricket fan, because you're watching live cricket. India play New Zealand. Then after that, you'll see the big opener, the Women's World Cup, where India take on Australia. Australia, the defending champions. Indians, the runners-up in the tournament before last at Lord's, one of the best women's game that I was privileged to watch. Full house at Lord's. So this is what you'll see starting at 1 p.m. That's India time. So once you finish with men's cricket, tune into that cricket with a different color of the ball.
And we had the Indian women come out to New Zealand last summer, and my first opportunity to see Smriti Mandana in action. She is a terrific player. I would have no problem suggesting that she is the Virat Kohli of the women's game. And I think in time we will talk about her as being someone who changed women's cricket, dragged the standard of batsmanship up, much like Viv Richards did from the West Indies back in the late 70s.
Don't forget Harmanpreet Kaur as well. Terrific batter and very aggressive in the way she bats. One of the most phenomenal innings that I've seen at the international level. Forget about the gender, was Harmanpreet Kaur versus Australia in England, semi-finals, 171 not out. Just put that score beyond the reach of the Australians. The next highest was just not much. Just an all-time great innings. Jemima Rodrigues is another interesting player. Indian women always have those wrist spinners and spinners who bowl the ball very slowly and trouble foreign batters.
One thing you see in women's cricket as well is that the top four hold the key to each team. They've traditionally been where all the runs have scored. So a little bit extra pressure on the Jemima Rodrigues and Harmanpreet Kaurs and the Smriti Mandanas. Verma as well, the new youngster. Good running. We'll come back for two.
Yeah, good running. Like the keenness of Rishabh Pant to get back on strike to face Trent Bolt and not hog the spinner from the other end. Slowly getting into his groove, Rishabh Pant. Just looks a little more relaxed with his body language.
I don't think New Zealand will mind this session, though. They have picked up a couple of wickets. India have, by no stretch of the imagination, has taken this game away from New Zealand. Just 40 odd runs in this session. Quite incredible in today's game. 121 for 5.
छोटे छोटे लम्हों का अनोखा सफर, कमला पसंद, अनोखा स्वाद।
बाकी सब तो उड़ गया, लेकिन आपका परफ्यूम रह गया।
बिना गैस वाला फॉग ये जल्दी से उड़ेगा नहीं, रहेगा।
Born in Mumbai, Ijaz Patel finally in the bowling attack.
I must thank you as well, Sanjay. You're helping us out. Mumbai born, I was just going to bring that up. Of course, we saw in the white ball series Ish Sodhi from Ludhiana. And Jeet Raval, who's been opening the batting for New Zealand, is from Gujarat as well.
Just making our own humble attempt to globalize the game, Scotty. But tell us about this thing with New Zealand. Spinners. Do they have to be Patels?
Oh, now here we go. Deepak Patel. He was actually born in Kenya. You know Deepak Patel? Yeah, he was born in Kenya rather than India, surprisingly. And then Jeetan as well. This is his home ground at the Basin Reserve. Just retired after 20 seasons. Still plays at Warwickshire. England spin bowling coach. But you're right, he played for New Zealand as well. Another Patel. You see it all the way through the age groups across the country. All the under 15s, 17s and 19s. A lot of Indians now playing representative cricket in New Zealand. And I think it will become more and more of a trend that we see more instances of the Indian-born or second-generation New Zealanders playing. It's terrific.
Well. Scotty, in England too, a lot of players from Indian origins, Indian sort of parents born in India, getting through the county circuit, making it. Ravi Shastri on the right, or to the left when you were watching him with B. Arun, the bowling coach.
And the best part about it is that they all understand Hindi. All the boys do. So the Indian players can't speak Hindi out in the middle because Our guys know exactly what you're saying.
Well, we've never had that kind of problem. All of us understand English, even if it has a Kiwi accent on it. It's 121 for 5.
छोटे छोटे लम्हों का अनोखा सफर, कमला पसंद, अनोखा स्वाद।
इटालियन खाने बाहर चले?
यार दीदी के बर्थडे गिफ्ट के लिए पैसे पूरे नहीं पड़ रहे, तुम लोग चले जाओ यार।
अमेज़न से मनी ट्रांसफर।
अब कोई अच्छा गिफ्ट लेना।
जिनके लिए रिश्ते रुपयों से बड़े हो, उनका रुपया भी बड़ा होना चाहिए। इसलिए अब आपके Amazon ऐप से बैंक टू बैंक पैसे ट्रांसफर करो और एक्साइटिंग रिवॉर्ड्स पाओ। मनी ट्रांसफर ऑन Amazon, अब बड़ा होगा रुपया।
आपके बच्चे भी फॉरएवर एंड एवर कॉन्सेप्ट्स याद रखेंगे। जस्ट डाउनलोड बायजूस, the all new and personalized learning app.
Come fall in love with learning.
Trent Bolt continues, so spin and seam at the moment. Continues to be a little overcast here in Wellington. Close to 1 hour at the crease now for Rishabh Pant. We just saw a picture of Ravi Shastri there, sitting with the bowling coach on the right, B. Arun. There he gets up. Well, we're going to see at tea time Shastri relive his debut in Wellington on this day in 1981. And something about those many years back when you're just growing up as a cricketer, you remember all those things, and maybe just a couple of weeks back, a match that you've covered, you forget a lot of things of that game. So we were actually jogging a memory of the playing 11 of India from 1981.
Yeah, I must give you some credit here, Sanjay. I thought I'd tease you and test you and see if you could pick the Indian side of that day, and you did. You got them all.
Well done. Something that you always expect from the Black Caps is this kind of commitment in the field. See him come and bat for New Zealand down the order at number 5.
Looking forward to that Ravi Shastri innings. Back in that time, in the early 80s, 70s, were the Australian and New Zealand tours always combined?
Cost-cutting measure. Might as well do New Zealand that you've gone so far. And they didn't care about how long you were away from home at the time. Slowly, steadily, Rishabh Pant building his innings. So I remember 1992 Cricket World Cup, we were there for almost 4 months in Australia. Played a whole test series followed by a triangular and then the World Cup. I can be the lightning to your bolt. So yes, do watch out for that tea time show where we'll hear from Ravi Shastri, who batted at number 10 in that match. Came in as a left-arm spinner. Sunil Gavaskar was very keen on this young, tall, wiry left-arm spinner from Mumbai. He came in as a left-arm spinner and slowly and steadily. Then a left-arm spinner. Ended up opening in test matches. Shastri come foreign tours, would move up the order, tours to West Indies, England, Australia, and India was back home on flat pitches.
Tell you what though, these are perfect conditions from New Zealand's perspective. New Zealand cricket loves sending India, Sri Lanka, West Indies, Pakistan to either Wellington or Dunedin because it's always cold. And the hand warmers come out, they're always in the pockets. 2 or 3 jerseys at times as well. If the southerly comes through, the wind's coming from the other direction to today.
You go down south and it gets hotter. In New Zealand, it gets colder. So that was the last ball before tea will be taken. The second session with India, having lost 5, a bit of a dogged partnership with 122 for 5.
This broadcast is co-presented by Kamla Pasand, Anokha Swad, Byju's, the learning app, money transfer on Amazon, Dream 11, make your team now, and Maruti Suzuki, in association with Ultratech India's #1 cement, Blender's Pride Music CDs, and MasterCard.
Nerolac Cricket Live is presented by Kansai Nerolac Paints.
Thanks so much for joining us here on Nerolac Cricket Live. It is tea time. Let me just recap you to what we saw early on in the day. It was Prithvi Shaw that fell early after showing a little bit of intent, but the talking point of that first session was the young debutant Kyle Jamieson picking up the wickets of not just Cheteshwar Pujara but also captain Virat Kohli. Huge moments. Then Mayank Agarwal and Rahane had put a stand together, which brought us into the post-lunch session where Mayank Agarwal, after a hard-fought 34, was next to depart. Rahane still there, kept his head down, batting as he does often in this format. Hanuma Vihari having also been lost in this session, but he's joined Ajinkya Rahane by Rishabh Pant, who in fact is playing this test match. So great opportunity for Rishabh Pant here after sitting on the bench for a while across formats, especially since he will be tested as a batsman in these sort of conditions. So there you go. The day so far has belonged all to New Zealand, both those two sessions as well. The conditions are incredibly windy and we'll be discussing that with our experts. Let me just bring you our Maruti Suzuki top stories.
India's batsmen struggle against swing after losing the toss in Wellington. Prithvi Shaw falls to a beauty from Tim Southee, and debutant fast bowler Kyle Jamieson dismisses the big guns to put the Black Caps on top. It's been a tour to forget so far for Super V. He falls for 2, his 8th innings without 100 on this tour.
What a wicket that one is, and Jamieson on fire on debut.
Mayank Agarwal and Ajinkya Rahane begin the recovery for the Blues, but Trent Boult strikes in his first over after lunch, and Jamieson adds to India's woes again. And in a remarkable coincidence, Ravi Shastri returns to the ground on which he made his Test debut on the same day he made his Test debut 39 years ago. Cheteshwar Pujara interviews Shastri on this very special day.
Pleasure. I would have never believed that come to the same ground, same venue, playing against the same opposition.
Can't wait to hear that story as well, and can't wait to talk about the day so far for Team India and New Zealand with Scott Styris and Sanjay Manjrekar. We are on Scott Styris time, ladies and gentlemen, so we've got to actually play to his tunes, and that's what it seems Indian batsmen have been doing so far. New Zealand, remember, they had won the toss. It was drizzling when the captains had walked out for the toss. Very, very overcast conditions, and that's what you tend to expect here at the Basin Reserve. And just the way things have fallen, look at that debut for Kyle Jamieson to come in as well, for someone like Neil Wagner to come away with those sort of figures, and also the wicket of Virat Kohli. Understandable, as you'd said, Sanjay. You predicted this in the morning.
Yeah, Prithvi Shaw has just got a quick wake-up call, reality check of playing in foreign conditions. I'm sure he'll make that adjustment in the second innings. Great rhythm. This is Jamieson getting wide of the crease, a little bit of movement off the pitch. Pujara very concerned about that defence when the ball is on middle stump, and then the big one. Virat Kohli.
And that's exactly what New Zealand needed, because I tell you, there's an aura about Kohli. I don't need to tell everybody from India that, but when he is out, it just gives the opposition a huge lift. And when at that stage, when India had lost 3 wickets quickly, it vindicated the decision to bowl first from Williamson, and it also put that middle order for India under pressure, because there were some players who haven't played at the top level for a little while when you consider that the white ball series has just been.
In fact, let's break it up for you, because as you mentioned, Scotty, a huge moment of the game. He's always the prize wicket, Virat Kohli. So a Baiju's game plan, just that setup from Jamieson as well, kind of inciting, tempting Virat Kohli into a kind of channel that we have seen the dismissal before in previous.
You know what is amazing, Mayank? This is a young guy. He's just played about 20 first class. Have a plan, but you've got to have somebody to execute it to perfection. Now, what you've seen in this little package is a lot of variation in length, and the line has been the same. It's not easy to do, and for somebody playing his first test match, that was phenomenal, and Virat Kohli just getting sucked in. See, this is the point I was making. Have a look at the variation in length, but the line has been spot on. Not one delivery on middle and leg, allowing Virat Kohli to get easy runs on the leg side. The extra bounce helps, winning the toss also helps, all those factors coming into play, but that was really full marks to young Jamieson, who we have been thoroughly impressed with.
And it's something we've spoken about at lunch as well, whether New Zealand will continue to see a little bit of assistance in the next session. And you mentioned some of those players coming back. For example, Mayank Agarwal, who fought through in that morning session, but also accounting for Hannuma Vihari in this session from New Zealand's point of view.
Exactly, and I thought that was a really disappointing way for Mayank Agarwal to get out, because that first session, making sure he batted through, trying to see that new ball off, getting past the spell which was threatening of Jameson, and then that exposed Vihari, who's been in great touch, which is why I think New Zealand needed to find this wicket and to find it early to expose Rishabh Pant, who has been sitting on the sidelines for the whole tour so far. And so to get rid of those informed players in such classical ways where you're nicking a good length ball, I think that's the pleasing part.
When you're under pressure, there's one man who tends to stand up overseas. He's done it at home in last year, but Ajinkya Rahane, again, tailor-made for he doesn't play every single format, Sanjay, but he keeps himself fit and mentally fit for these sort of situations.
So there have been two trips for Ajinkya Rahane overseas. There was the first one where he went to South Africa, New Zealand, England, Australia, got loads of runs. The second time around when he toured the world, didn't get as many. He's back to getting runs, mostly in home conditions. But today's innings, we were discussing, Scotty, has been a completely different Ajinkya Rahane, where you don't see him attacking at all. When he got all those 700 runs in the last season, you saw him playing a few shots, a few lofted shots, but this has been a dogged effort. This has been in the Pujara mold. So today what we saw from Ajinkya Rahane was priceless for India, where he wasn't playing anything through the line or trying to look for runs. It was just Pujara school of batting that we saw from Ajinkya Rahane.
I love the way you say Pujara school of batting. That's the kind of language we've developed now. Actually in the pre-match press conference, he's spoken about adjusting the backlift a little bit, adjusting to those windy conditions in Wellington. And that's what I want you gentlemen to talk about in our Ultratech Experts View, because tomorrow we expect the wind to be 100 kmph. It's about 40, 45 now. What adjustments do you need to make?
In some ways you need to widen your stance. And the reason for that is because if you're upright and your feet are together, that's when, and the winds tomorrow getting to 100 kilometres an hour, more than double what we've seen so far today, that's when you topple over. So as a batsman, you have to widen your stance to give you a better base from which to stand and bat from. The backlift, I've never really worried so much about it. It's more making sure that you don't get blown over. And, that's only a zephyr, if you like, a little minor breeze in Wellington. So you're right, though. This will be focused for both sides on how they have to. New Zealand's case, they are used to that, but for India, that is a very simple one. There's a wider stance to give you that better base, and I guess, you're not going to topple over quite so much. If you do that...
They certainly aren't. They found the best place.
I can tell you, it's one of the toughest jobs anywhere in the world, being a ground staff member in Wellington.
Oh, it is really, really tough. In those sort of conditions, when India have lost those sort of wickets, in walks in Rishabh Pant, again with the weight of the world, wanting to see how he does in these sort of situations. So how have you assessed?
Well, I've seen this side of Rishabh Pant. In England, he made his debut. His first scoring shot was 6th. After that, the very next inning, he played about 20 or 21 dot balls before he got off the mark. So we see either black or white with Rishabh Pant. So this is one of those innings where he's just come in and he's grafting for runs. There are occasions when he comes and throws his bat around, eventually goes on to get 100. As long as he's trying his way of, trying to stay there and contribute to the team, good luck to him.
Do you not think, though, Sanjay, as well, that Rishabh Pant, from what we've seen, I think he's played really well nicely, that Prithvi Shaw could look to Rishabh Pant, both natural strikers of the ball, both look to go after the bowling and hit boundaries. But we've seen Rishabh Pant just rein it in. When the ball's been there, he's looked to be aggressive, but he hasn't looked to try and make something out of nothing. Prithvi Shaw still looking to play as if he was playing in India.
Yeah, I think Prithvi Shaw is a batsman who can't hold back. We've seen Rishabh Pant play the defensive inning. His debut inning when he got 20 odd runs in England. Stuart Broad bowled a superb spare around the wicket to Rishabh Pant. And I was thinking of Rishabh Pant, the IPL batsman, leaving balls, playing the ball late. And I thought, wow, this guy has got a good defensive play as well. So he's got that facet of his batting, which I don't think Prithvi Shaw will ever become a dead defensive kind of batsman looking to play shots. He's somebody who just can't help but play shots, in the Virendra Sehwag mode.
Mumbai School of Batting for Prithvi Shaw. That's what we learned from Sanjay earlier as well. Okay, so listen, a little bit of rain at the moment, which is understandable. I mean, Scotty's like, listen, these are our conditions. So for precaution, they've just managed to keep everything covered. Again, we can completely understand that. We'll keep you up to date with what is going on right now. And actually, it's a little more than a bit of rain, Scotty. I thought it was just a drizzle.
We've had a good summer as well. The whole Indian tour, there's not been a cloud in the sky. So this is
when you come to India, we give you sun, we give you no wind, we give you sort of guaranteed play every day, and this is what you give us in return.
Well, I think it's a good example. Yeah, that's why it's tough for the ground staff with the covers, and it's easy for them to blow away, which it can be a little dangerous. We've seen some accidents happen.
So this is one of those rare instances where actually being heavy and being fat is an advantage, playing here with the Basin Reserve, where you can be more balanced in your...
I think it probably is, yes, Sanjay.
And there's nothing personal about it, it's just an observation.
So Kyle Jamieson, 6'8", is good to go. Like this is a great ground that he made his debut on. I tell you what, someone else who made his debut on this ground actually 39 years ago was Ravi Shastri. He walked in and said, here I am back again and nothing has changed. Let's hear what he had to say to Chetesh Pujara as we go down memory lane.
The 21st of February 1981, the day an 18-year-old Ravi Shastri made his Test debut as a left-arm spinner at the Basin Reserve in Wellington. And now, in a remarkable coincidence, 39 years later, Shastri is back at the venue of his Test debut on the very same day that he got his Test cap nearly 4 decades ago. On this very special day for the India coach, Chetesh Pujara takes Ravi Shastri down memory lane to relive how he became India's 151st Test cricketer.
Today I have with me someone who is very special, who has made his debut here at Wellington and who is not part of current cricket squad, but he is coaching us. Ravi bhai, thank you very much. Thank you for doing this.
Pleasure. I would have never believed that come to the same ground, same venue, playing against the same opposition. I went into the dressing room, the same dressing room, nothing has changed. The Basin Reserve, I made my debut here 39 years ago. I wouldn't have believed it. To the day, 21st of February, I'd be back after 39.
It's a great feeling, isn't it? I still remember my debut game. So how does it feel to be back here after 39 years? And how was it? Because I heard that when you landed the night before the game and then next day you had to play the game.
I'll never forget that because I reached New Zealand at about 9:30 in the night. I think the late Papu Nadkarni came to fetch me at the airport. The Indian team was at the High Commission for their official due. And I went straight to the hotel. My room partner was Dilip, but there was no one in the room, so I crashed out. And next morning, we were put into field and there you were playing the game and you were in the field straight away.
You took 6 wickets as well, so yeah. How was that feeling?
I think I was nervous, I was definitely nervous as one would imagine anyone playing his first game. But I bowled tidily day one and I got 1 wicket of Jeremy Coney, and that got my confidence going because conditions were totally different to what you were used to in India or even wherever else overseas I played, because there were blustery winds, the circling winds, and it was a very, very cold day. And thanks to Paulie Umbriga's sweater, I didn't even have a sweater. Paulie Kaka gave me a sweater just before I left, and that came very handy.
Who were the cricketers at that time whom you looked up to and who guided you through your debut game?
In fact, when I walked out of the dressing room, I came out, I first saw Hadley, and then I saw Keynes, and then I saw Jeff Howard, then I saw John Wright, Jeremy Coney. These were names that you just listened to on the radio. And even in my own team, there were players there that a lot of them I had not even met. But Gundappa was my childhood hero. So it was great to, play in a series with him. Sunny, of course, was captaining the side. There was Kapil there. And a lot of these players I met for the first time. In fact, when I took the field, I'd not even met half of them.
It's a great experience. And has the stadium changed a bit after? So was it still windy then?
I'll tell the boys, still going to be windy and expect it to be windy, and be prepared for it. I think one stand has been added, a new stand where the museum might open, but otherwise pretty much the same. Like I said, not a change in the dressing room, not an iota of a change in the dressing room.
And how does it feel to coach this Indian team and who is doing really well? So what is the experience for you now?
I think fantastic. I never thought I would come in this capacity. But, thanks to you guys, I'm with a great team. I've watched cricket in those 39 years. And, when you look back, I'll rate this team as good as any team that's played for India. And when you look at consistency across all formats, the way they play the game, the way they have travelled in the last 2 years to play